set up. So for you guys watching, we've had a bit of delay here for 5 minutes, so this is the reason why it's a bit off here. Apologize for that. Tonight we have the second week of MLMW's tournament, and tonight we're having Sarah from Rising versus QQ. My name is MavRCK, and I'll be streaming here with Edmiester. Hi, Edmiester.
It's Edmiester, but
Edmiester. My bad, man. My bad. So we're on to round 2 right now, and we actually have the teams lined up and ready to go. So we apologize for the delay. I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to bring everyone's attention here to Canyon Network. Canyon Network right here is basically, as you see here on Map Tactic. You can go to Map Tactic and take a look at it here. We'll have the 2 teams spawn on either side, and because this is round 1, we'll be having a Conquest match with a 3-3-3-3 drop, which is 3 lights, 3 mediums, 3 heavies, and 3 assaults. Because both teams will be spawned on either side of the maps here at Sigma and at Gamma, we'll be able to have a good battle. Usually around the Theta region in the middle position between Charlie 3 and Charlie 4. But who knows what happens? We might have some lights swinging around the side on the west side over by Charlie 2, or maybe on the east side of Charlie 5. Edmiester's a pretty well-known light pilot. What do you think, Ed?
I love Canyon Network. All the little hiding spots for lights. They can scout, they can hide, hop in and out, see where the movement's going, but they don't see anything. They're going to have to, they're going to have to leave their drop commander guessing. And when the drop commander is kind of like wondering where they are, they're kind of sweating bullets, figuring out, oh, are they going for a close-in rush? Are they going to pop in over here, go for the cap game? A lot of things can happen. So your lights are really key, as in any match, but more so in Canyon Network. There's a lot of escape routes, so you can be a lot more aggressive on this map than any other map, in my opinion.
Absolutely, I agree with that too. I think they did a great design with it. They've made some few changes over time, making a few little pathways to get up for the heaviers and assaults. But this is a match that really favors light pilots and also favors pilots with really good piloting skills. Depending on how the teams start off from their spawn positions, going to the left or the right, when you need to go right instead of left, you can leave your team in a bind and leave some of your assaults and heavies behind if they don't have jump jets. It's one of the maps where jump jets are huge assets, and it'll be interesting to see what mechs these guys take.
I've seen a lot of different strategies for this map too, so I'm definitely favoring jump jets on this map. But lately, the Stalker Foreign has been the MVP of this map, trading off because the engage range between canyons is about 500 to 600 meters, which is right in that nice effective range for the large lasers on the forend.
Absolutely. That's a great mech for there because the ranges really go well. The large laser range can really cover from, say, in the Delta 4 area all the way to the Charlie 3 or the Theta, or likewise, the ER large lasers can poke a bit behind there as well.
I've also seen some teams go with a very short range comp build. I won't think we'll see any street mechs until we get into maybe lighter. A little bit lighter, but I think the best of 5 light drops aren't happening till I think week 6, right?
Absolutely, that's right. That is totally right.
We're on 720 right now on the second drop.
We definitely saw last week that the streaks have come back in full force, and in terms of brawling, they're definitely the favored weapon. I'm not sure on this map though. It could be difficult. I mean, once you're closed in, absolutely, there's no way to get away. But the question is, if you have good scouting, some good light pilots like yourself, that scouting information might be enough to keep the teams apart long enough for, say, some non-brawling type mechs to take a few hits and so forth and turn the tides before the brawl even starts. What do you think?
Well, other than the fact of getting good scouting, I mean, good positioning is also key. You can see they're coming from very far away, but if you're in the wrong position, it doesn't matter. So the drop commander is going to have to be very on point and also convince, or rather try to micromanage a little bit more, since there's lots of dips, little areas where you don't want to get caught in.
Absolutely. We often see these 2 locations here in red and purple between the C4, C5, where people tend to group up and they tend to do a ring around. We often see that in public queue, but even in group competitive matches. And we see on the south side the Delta 4 to Delta 3 locations. A few good pilots around the Delta 4 location there can do some great sniping and also some great scouting.
It'll depend how they make their initial move. I've also seen some movements around the Charlie 2, Charlie 3, but I really like the the Delta 4 C4 area. That's where usually most of the good engagements start. They trade off mid range, then maybe they can move in and close once they feel like one side's losing or winning, and it can get really intense the last part.
Absolutely. One of the things I like about that Delta 4 region is how they built up the grounds there. You know, these sort of like gradual inclines that let you sort of like scoop up and get a shot and cut back down. Plus you have some high peaks in the middle. It gives some great cover fire from LRMs or even some long distance. I thought that was a fantastic design, and that Delta 4 region, just like you point out, is a great example of some good map design.
So what do you think about these two teams, Mav?
Well, you know, I got a chance to speak down with Wonka from Seraphim today, and of course, I've got to know Carm over the years. But apparently, these guys are no strangers to each other. QQ and Seraphim are currently running 5-5 in overall tournament play. They've met each other 10 times, and they split the games evenly. Apparently, Seraphim was the Season 2 MRBC Division B North American winners. And QQ was the following year, Season 3 MRBC Division B winners in North America as well. So these guys have seen each other around for quite a while. So they're quite the competitors. In addition, from what I understand, Wonka from Seraphim pointed out that in the last season of Season 4, the current season, they actually managed to take a game off Imperial and Steel Jaguar, two of the best teams in MechWarrior Online right now. So apparently they're ranked a bit higher than QQ. So what do you think, being a QQ member? What do you think of that?
QQ member? I'm not a QQ member.
I thought you were QQ. Weren't you QQ?
No.
Oh my god, I'm so bad. Sorry about that. Well, take that back then. Well, what do you think anyways?
Well, I just think being exposed to the comp scene has been very beneficial for Seraphim. They've been kind of new to the scene as opposed to QQ. I've known those guys for a long time, but yeah, it's just a matter of getting in there, getting games in with better teams, and just you lose, go ahead and analyze your replays on Twitch or wherever you guys had it streamed, see what's going on and why they do things, and then you go to the your maps on Murphy or Map Tactic or whatever program you want to use, and just kind of analyze where your movements go.
Absolutely. Seraphim explained to me that they're actually a smaller unit within the overall Seraphim, I guess, group or gaming group of 200 units. But they, as an actual competitive group, were always very, very small and selective, maybe 8 or 9. But due to the current 12v12 setup of this of Major League MechWarrior League, they actually had to expand them and take in few extra pods. So they've always been a very tight, very close-knit unit. And of course, as you know, QQ's always been quite a large competitive group with a lot of casuals as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I mean, will the team that's been together very, very tight, but had to take in a few new units, new players for the current competitive unit, do better than, say, a team that's quite a bit larger with a lot of experienced players, but perhaps not quite as tight?
Yeah, and adding that extra 4 people, as you know, teams are always on the weakest link. So adding those 4 people they might not be accustomed to may be proving detrimental against QQ, who's probably had that bigger roster for much longer.
Absolutely. On the other hand, too, you could always pick up an ace pilot. We saw that last week with Steel Jaguar. They picked up the Beef, and he was pretty much his MVP for the first 2 matches. Started taking a few quick kills. So it's hard to say how it can go. It'll be interesting to see. I think we're getting a few notes here. Okay, they're about to drop. Their lobby's farming. I'm gonna try and get into this game with Wonka right now. Let's go. Okay, they're dropping.
In.
Are you in?
Yep, I hear the mech starting up.
I'm not able to get in. Well, I'm having difficulties
happening?
dropping it. I don't know what's happening.
Might want to look at the.
Oh, here we go.
Did it not launch on? You
It
got
did
it?
launch now. We're a bit delayed there.
Okay. Okay.
All right, great. Here we go in.
Right now, we have QQ coming in with 3 direwolves and Timberwolf. And let's see, adding another Timberwolf. For the lights, they're running 3 fire starters, and their mediums are running Stormcrows. 3 of each kind. And the fire is already starting.
Wow, they're really into this match right away here. We can see Carp at the very front here moving up. He's in his Timberwolf there, and we got see Wolf CP of Seraphim on his Direwolf up there close up as well. You can see in the corner there, Morgan's trailing the tail end of QQ and taking quite a few hits here. He's already down to 49%. And you can also see that Storm here has moved in quite close as well.
Seraphim is running medium range, large pulse. Seraphim opting for the stalkers, so they're not as mobile, but they have very good firepower and accuracy with the lasers.
Absolutely, and we're just taking a look now on Wolf CP here, and he's in the middle of the fight with his Direwolf here. He's running the Duo Gauss large pulse ER laser. It seems to be I call it the Twinkie Overlord build. It's a fantastic build, tons of DPS, 84 alpha, and he's just saying like a turret. He's happily trading shots, and here he took off a half of his target there. Wow, nice job.
We're already at 1-1, 1 down for each team.
It's a tight match here.
Seraphim is liking that middle spot. QQ opting to be a little bit more patient and going on the outside. They are down 2 mechs now, though.
Yep, absolutely. You know, and they're actually a bit south of where we mentioned on the map here, just south of the D4 region, fighting over the center portion there. But Seraphim's quite aggressive. They're moving closely, and they've pushed QQ all the way back to their starting position. We've got Lyskin as fire starter, and he's got Jay moving on his Stormcrow trying to get a flanking position. But already they're a couple members down. Seraphim's doing a great job here, eventually creeping up. They've also got a Raven on the far right, or the far eastern flank there. He's taking a few shots here, but the whole team now is starting to rotate to the left. They're doing a counterclockwise push, and they're going to face JD3 in just a moment there. Wow, look at the focus fire.
They smell blood, Mav.
Ah, he's down. Look, next up, some Nuber. This is a great rotation. Just watch how they're moving all around. The light mechs are going further around the outside because they can move quicker. They just took another mech out. And you've got the heavies and assaults higher up in the corner. This is a classic movement. And we're left down the J-Man in his Hunchback 4J, his classic mech. His signature mech, really. It's the last guy. But I don't think he's got what it takes.
He loves them Hunchbacks, but it's not going to save him now, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We almost need a J-Man Hero Edition. Well done, Seraphim. Well done. It'll be interesting what the scores are, but that was very well done. Super aggressive start by Seraphim, great focus firing, and yeah, take a look at this. The Darwolves didn't do as much damage as I thought they would, but you know, very effective damage with those high alphas. They definitely took off some torsos there.
I didn't like their direwolf movement. They kept it on the low ground, and they weren't able to utilize the direwolves as they should. Basically, mobile rotating turrets of doom.
Yeah, I'm
so
trying
on that little lower end of that ramp, they didn't have much to hop around, and Seraphim had their pick of what angle they wanted to fire at them at. So that's how the direwolves had their doom.
Absolutely, and you know, just like you mentioned here, take a look at Wonka here. Wonka actually took his the Stalker 4, and just like you mentioned, it's a very effective build. One of the MVPs. And hey, look, you got 3 kills, 7 assists. I mean, you really called it out quite well. I
like that damage spread.
Very well done there. I mean, definitely. Unfortunately, we lost a few of the mechs, but definitely some of the Direwolves did some big damage there. But it would be interesting to see the other mechs just to be able to compare and contrast a little bit. That was well done. One match goes to Seraphim.
Server group assigned.
So we're back on here to MavRCK, and we'll take a look here at the map, and I'm just going to clear canvas. Ed, actually, I don't know if you can pull it up here, but I'll send you the link right now.
I just have it on the.
Okay, cool.
You could just call it on the grids. I'll be fine.
Excellent. So what we'll do is, yeah,
Do you have
let's.
a map tactic link? Or?
I do have a map tactic link. So for our viewers here, we had the Seraphim spawn in north end of the map, and they quickly moved in directly towards Theta here. And very, very quickly, they were able to get some good firing lines on towards the western side through Charlie 3 onwards through here. And that actually caught some of the QQ members by surprise, as they had moved up into this region through here and through
QQ
here.
started blue.
Oh, okay, so maybe the reverse of that?
Yeah, you came in a little bit late, and they kind of had swap positions because they came in from Alpha 3, Alpha 4. They went through the canyon to Charlie 3, and then they had to rotate around Delta 2, Delta 3.
Oh, okay, my bad. So it's actually reverse positions through here. So they came in through this area through here, and then Seraphim actually continued to rotate counterclockwise and bring them around through here. And you can actually remember at the beginning there, you saw at C3 region, we saw a couple of the direwolves. The direwolf of QQ getting a few good hits, taking a few good hits, and then getting stripped down by one of the Seraphim matches there. And they eventually continued this rotation and quite aggressively rotated down through Theta region, even closer to here, and then eventually made their way down through Delta 3. So pushing QQ further down from Charlie 3 down to Delta 3, and then Seraphim continued to close into Charlie 3 down to Delta 3.
Yeah, if you look at where the red arrow is around Charlie 2, right where it starts to curve into Charlie 3, that's where the direwolves were caught. Mm-hmm. And right from Theta, you got a really great angle. You can pop on the right, pop them on the left, pop them on the ramp. Pretty much any choosing you can have for just peeking over, getting an alpha, and just retreating to cover without any penalty.
Absolutely. In fact, you know, it's interesting where Seraphim ended up. Would have been a fantastic location for QQ to actually arrive. I wonder what was going through their minds, or how their assaults had spawned. Maybe their assault spawned over at Bravo 3, and that limited them getting over to Charlie 3, Charlie 4. Because if QQ could actually position themselves for the Charlie 4 Theta area, that could have very much been in their advantage too.
I don't know. Based on the planning, I think I see where they were kind of go, or where they're trying to go. Mm-hmm. But they had a very Seraphim had a good scouting light to show where they're going, because you can go either down the 5 line or down the 2 or the 3 and 2 line where they did take. But if they went right side, you know, or rather the 5 line side, then Seraphim probably could adjust accordingly. But luckily, I think it was Matt Edge who was in the light that scouted them out first over in Charlie 2 area.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just want to apologize to the viewers watching right now. I don't have Homeless Bill's skill quite yet with the overlays, but we'll be adjusting this in the future and so forth. Some other things I would point out were quite interesting was the choices of mech. For some reason, J-Man brought a LRM mech. What do you think of that?
He loves those hunchbacks. The 4J really has good DPS, but it needs the port. It needs to have tag. It needs to have narcs. It needs to have spotters. It needs to have all sorts of different things. And then by that time, to just support one mech, it's not worth it. You're going to have to, with a hunchback, I would actually use a gridiron instead. Mm-hmm. Because of the Gauss popping ability. It's got really fast refire rate on that. Mm-hmm. And that range is perfect for what they were trying to do.
Absolutely. With the quirks, so we're basically instant fire. Essentially, you're just waiting on the cooldown of, I believe it's 1.5 seconds, and then you're firing a 15 damage lobule to any specific location you can hit. I agree too. I think that 4J, well, it's very nice in pug matches where things are delayed. These matches are so fast, and you can tell the engagements happen quickly, and you can't always hold back if these teams want to actually brawl. So I agree. I don't know if the 4J would be my first selection here. I understand he's got a lot of experience with it, but still, it's one of those mechs that's very, very niche, very specific, and I would have gone with the Gridiron as well.
I think they're swapping out as we speak.
Right, absolutely. Okay. Cool, thanks for that tip I just put on the map here. It's one of the issues with OBS here. And also speaking to, I was curious, you know, the Stalker 4N, it's got great sustained DPS. It's an excellent. But if you had a choice between, say, a Direwolf with 84 damage up to 90, I believe you can almost do a 92 point alpha build. You know, that's a curiosity as well. I guess Seraphim, I mean, it worked for some. They won the match. The choice, though, ultimately, you know, how many Direwolves would you take, say, versus a Stalker? What do you think of that?
I would like mixing it up, to be honest with you. However, it depends on where they're going to go. Now, the way the QQ move, the Dire Wolves, they'd be better if they actually could get up to Delta 3 and be able to get firing lines. However, the Stalker would have been more convenient for them, firing from lower to higher. But, you know, they're also a little bit more mobile. And just, you know, if you pilot a Dire Wolf, you're going to be like, your arms are really low slung. So they have to have that high position. They just didn't get it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, positioning here is really, really key. You know, if you get caught into any of these valleys between, say, Charlie 4 and Delta 3, if you get fallen into like Charlie 3, even in the backlines, Bravo 3, they're very, very hard to get out. And you actually have to know the map so well and know exactly which lines you can take up. There's only about 2 or 3 areas where people can actually climb up and go into the upper levels. I think it's very, very important
I
think it's very important that a lot of these the maps get adjusted a little bit more, give a little bit more ability for those mechs that don't have jump jets as well. Hope that's something to look at in the future.
We have a few more people in lobby.
Absolutely.
Within a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. We're gonna have to. I think after the next match, at the very end, I think we should do a mech bay draw. Thanks to PGI for putting up like $1,000 in prizes and so forth. We've got a. We've actually got a couple of codes to give out. How do you think we should do it, Ed?
Well, when I did it on Sunday, Saturday, it was a random number generator that No Guts No Galaxy had up. But I don't know. Could be post the code, see who gets it first.
Could do that. We could
that's how Bill did it.
Yeah, that worked too. I'm wondering if we could do trivia. Do you think trivia questions could work?
Google Foo.
Wow, I know. I'm trying to think. Huh. We used to have a community manager, and I think you got to know him pretty well. And I think we should come up with a little trivia question for him. So we'll pop the trivia question at the end of the next match, and the first person to answer it can get it. How's that sound?
Sounds fine to me. Unfortunately, I can't use it. Damn it. Oh, well.
Yeah, likewise too. So unfortunately, I suppose we could, but it'd be really not great. So, but yeah. No, we definitely won't do that. So let's just see how they're doing here.
Yeah, the map's up. 3-minute delay.
Yeah.
So hard with the delay.
This delay, sorry guys for everyone watching, this delay makes it extremely hard, and unfortunately there are a few bugs actually with the OBS as well. So even though it looks like it's okay on ours, it doesn't always come up well, and coming out of a match it changes as well. But as we become more aware and more comfortable with the streaming, we'll know what these quirks are and we'll adjust it. But thanks for putting up with us. We still have a few bugs going in the streaming side of things.
So while we're waiting, next match is going to be Skirmish, 720 tons. Is that right?
That is right. So basically, they can do whatever they want with 720 tons. And we saw last week some great actual brawling battles up on that open Arctic map, and a lot of streaks that come out. I'm curious what they're going to be doing here because they can pretty much do whatever they want. 720 tons between 12 people, it averages out to 60 tons each. That's quite a bit actually of firepower. Sorry, I'm still waiting for a few notes from QQ here. but we saw last week we had some atlases and a couple of matches. At one point, we had a few guys with street crows, and we had some of the street lakes, which was great to see actually, especially some of the lighter clan mechs like the Adder and the Kid Fox. That usually these aren't mechs that you would see in competitive play, but they found a nice niche role, being quite powerful streak mechs. At the same time, we've also saw some people taking out the old classics like the Atlas. Things are really hard to down, and the recent adjustments to the quirks have made them quite a better mech than they were to. We're just about to drop now, guys. So we're gonna drop in. We're gonna try and drop in right away. Here we go. Into counter decorate for round 2. And we have them setting up here. So I already see some Firestarters, a Wolverine 6K, a couple of Timberwolves here. So right off the bat, we got a couple of Firestarters, a Timberwolf Wolverine, another Wolverine Firestarter, and more Timberwolves coming out from Seraphim. And on the opposite side, we've got a Stalker, Firestarter, Timberwolf, 4 Ravens, 2 Ravens, another Raven, more Timberwolves, and more Firestarters from QQ. So actually quite a similar drop deck.
Very similar. Those Timberwolves are so good right now. I would definitely put as many as I could.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Wonka. Wonka's actually the drop commander of Seraphim, and he explained that his philosophy was to have a team as tight as possible, teams that play well together, teams that don't have a lot of ego. They're pretty much all on par with each other, but they're just there to work with each other. You already see him positioning well, and he's taking a Timberwolf C with jump jets. He's got actually 3 medium lasers and 2 large pulses. Give him decent burst, but dropping one of the medium lasers actually gives him a little bit more sustained DPS, so you can fire more consistently there. It's definitely a favorite build of mine. He's actually just got he just got Arctic Artillery Strike, and he's trying to move away. This is definitely becoming a bit of a long-range battle. You see how they're Seraphim staying on the north side of the map here, and now they're starting to rotate around counterclockwise, similar to what they did before, but in a much larger arc. We can quickly see a really cool airstrike moving around. Whoa, and it hit right there in the middle of QQ. QQ is also now starting to rotate around clockwise. You can see J-Man now taking a Stalker, and counteractively Seraphim's moving over to the western side of the map as well.
You know, when they Seraphim sacrificed a little bit more to get all Timberwolves, having those Firestarters, they needed to maybe take a Raven 2X or a 4X for a little bit longer range. Pretty much all the lights are good for is scouting and not much damage at the moment.
Absolutely, but you can quickly see here on the southern flank, you can see that Seraphim's 3 lights here are moving up. They're quickly getting a good flank. Look at that damage they're doing right away. They're moving on to Florflanator and a Stalker right there, and the Stalker's already dropped down to 69%, and the 3 Firestars are going down. Let's take a quick look here, guys. Yeah, they're focusing down very quickly. QQ's aware, but they can't really go. At the same time, we got Mad Edge coming down. We got 4 Firestarter S's. Wow, they've taken out the Stalker. That's first kill again to Seraphim. Well done. Really good flanking.
One Seraphim's favorite at the moment.
Absolutely. Seraphim's really taking this to QQ here. We can see Valkyrie. Yeah, another one. These Firestars initially weren't too much like you said, but they're really becoming the MVPs of the group here. A lot of movement.
A lot of sustained firepower over long mid ranges while rotating. This is a lot of movement for a team of these calibers.
Absolutely, and QQ here, they got Quicksilver on the side here. He's an old competitor with a lot of experience here, and they've taken up a defensive position on the west side of the map here, and they're trying to focus down Vulposaur down, and his Timberwolf here is only at 49% here. But you can start to see on the northern side of the map, the Firestars are again starting to do their bit of rotation. They're starting to close the noose and come around in a sort of counter-cycle closing movement. J-Man has just gotten caught out in his Stalker. He's currently at 50%. He's being focused by White Death and his Firestar as well. That looks like, yep, and J-Man is down. There's another kill. That's a couple of the assaults for QQ. We've got one of the QQ Firestars. Yes, go ahead.
Taking Stalkers is going to be very detrimental to that movement. You run a rotation game with Stalkers or very slow mechs, you're going to lose it.
Absolutely, and they don't have jump jets, so as soon as they get pushed over the side here, you can quickly see here how much Seraphim can use the mobility of jump jets to get into good positions. That's what makes the Timberwolf such an amazing mech.
8-5 Seraphim at the moment.
Absolutely, great job. We see them now closing over. They're really starting to push on. Another QQ mech goes down, and we're left with a couple of lights here. One more light down. 2 more lights up for QQ, but this is pretty much GG right now. Krieger is moving in. He's trying to take out Valkyrie Fire in the Firestar. He's currently at 49%, but he just makes it out there luckily. Blade Splint's left at 31%. He doesn't have much to offer the game, and Krieger is out too. Good game to Seraphim here. The last part is just take out Blade Splint. He's in his Raven 2X. That is quite a good mech though, the 2X. It got some great quirks, got some great revisions. Done quite well, but again, it lacks jump jets. Actually, no, it does have jump jets, doesn't it?
No, the 4X is jump jets.
The 4X is the jump jets. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, right now, their lights are leg. So all they have are Timberwolves and a Wolverine. He's going to try to kite them around the map. That's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
But I think he's just too little too late.
Absolutely. He's Cord CT, you can see here. Wow, and
Down
that's the last one. Well done to Seraphim. 2 matches in a row here. Be curious to see what the damage is, but that was very well played by Seraphim. Again, very aggressive play, very quick, and they've got a very good group of light pilots who were able to like circle around and flank quickly and get the first couple kills and force QQ into the defensive position. It's very well done.
I like what Seraphim did. They were the aggressors both matches, and in this match, having the higher movement mechs, opting for all Timberwolves and light mechs and a Wolverine, those are all running. Your entire group is going to be running at least 89.1. So that's a very fast rotation game. Meanwhile, QQ has the Stalkers. Those are running at about 60 kilometers per hour. They're going to get left behind, and we saw that with the first action. All those Stalkers got left behind, out of position, and they were just getting slaughtered with the light mechs that were short range.
Absolutely, and you can kind of see the difference here. We got Florinair, who's in Stalker, got caught out of position doing 240 damage, but you compare him to like Quicksilver on the same team with the Timberwolf C with jump jets, and he was able to do 780 positions just because he's able to maneuver and get into a better position and start returning fire quicker. You can just see the comparison between a slightly heavier mech without jump jets and a lighter mech with jump jets. And that just gives you effective DPS here.
All people are saying their brackets are ruined.
Absolutely.
QQ was the higher seed, so...
Yep, absolutely. Now there was some question of whether or not, were all the teams, properly ranked according to the ELO. Who knows here? I think Seraphim's got a good argument now that maybe they should have been the higher ranked seed. But that actually makes Seraphim the 6-5 victors right now, and in total matches played against QQ. I guess at some point we're going to have a grudge match with these guys again, just to see who the actual winners are. I don't think QQ is ever going to underestimate these guys.
I don't think anyone should, for that matter.
No, that was actually very, very impressive play by Seraphim. What I think we should do now is maybe we should have that mech bay giveaway. There was someone that you'd streamed with before. Do you happen to remember his name?
I do, but are we giving it away? Giving it away now?
Yeah, I figured that if the first person who can remember his name and then the next person who can remember his favorite mech can get the two mech bays. What do you think of that?
Sorry, say that one more time.
We'll have the first winner to the first person who remembers this streamer's name, who happened to be one of the community managers, the first community manager, if I remember correctly, for PGI. And then the second mech bay will go to the person who remembers his favorite mech.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
good.
a bit of history there for PGI there.
It has to be two names, not just the first name either.
Yeah, I agree with that. Are you able to watch the chat stream here? Because I'm watching a little bit. And I'll need your help collecting them, and then whoever the two winners are, we'll send you. We'll actually send you by message your mech bay codes. So in about 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, the winner we'll start to see the people. Until then, until then we start getting the answers in the chat stream. Let's just go over the match here. So starting off in the Sigma location. Again, this was actually Seraphim, if I remember correctly, from the north side there, and they had the Timberwolves with a Firestarter combination, which I quite like, with one Wolverine. They came over into this side through here. And then on the southern side here, we had QQ going with their mixture of Timberwolf with a couple of Stalkers, and then they chose the Raven 2X. So that was an interesting match. What did you think of it, Ed?
You got to change this to Assault.
Oh, to Assault. Okay, let's do that.
And the movements are correct. It's just the spawn points are different. Or not Assault, I'm sorry. Team Deathmatch.
There we go.
Skirmish, as
Skirmish,
we would like
yes.
to call it.
That should be up now.
There it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense here. So there we go. Over Bravo 4 to Charlie 5, we had spawning here of Seraphim, which made a movement through that area there in towards Charlie 5. And then on the southwest side, we had the spawning of QQ here. Now, I quite like the approach of Seraphim, having quite a balanced drop deck, really splitting themselves up between Timberwolves, which pretty much are the elite heavy mechs currently being played in MechWare Online, and then taking the Firestarters, which are pretty much the tier 1, kind of the best of the light mechs currently. I personally like them over the Raven 2X. How do you feel about them?
I'm a Jenner man, but unfortunately, they didn't give enough quirks to the Jenner. But I like. It's a trade-off, really. The Raven 2X, you can fit in 3 large lasers, have that nice 27-point alpha at however many meters. It was, what, like almost 500 meters?
Yes.
Having that on a light mech is just amazing. However, you have to use them correctly. You have to keep them in relatively... You have to keep the other light mechs in check, or you have to put pressure on the heavies. Their Raven 2X on QQ didn't do as much as I would like it to do, but it's still a great mech. But Seraphim, with their strategy, using all those fire starters, taking advantage of a quick composition, is definitely fit in right to what they're wanting to do. They wanted to apply pressure. They wanted to hit the tail end. They wanted to get their movement. They wanted to get their position before QQ does. And they left QQ pretty much. They were chasing QQ around the map pretty much.
Absolutely, that's exactly what's happening here. I'm just actually quickly following the chat stream here. Exactly, we're actually starting to get the tournament, and wow, these guys are fast. I can't believe this. I can't believe this, Ed. Look at this. They were so fast here. We had Poop going already with the his answer right away was Garth Erlam, who was one of your streaming buddies from way back in the days. Which I agree.
I think it's cheating though, doing 2 on 1 line.
Yeah, but Poop gets one. I guess Calf can get the other one because technically it was the Cicada. But man, he was really quick on the ball. This Calf guy, I mean, whether it's trivia, I mean, whether it's copying and pasting mech codes, whether he's PPC, gal sniping, I don't know what's up with this guy. This guy's crazy good. There must be like a calf.exe like hack out there or something, right?
I don't know. I think they upgraded it. I don't have the new one, fortunately. Must be all the cafe.
Absolutely. Well, I had a lot of pleasure playing with Calf in other games like Battlefield, and I got to see that Calf was an excellent player, not just in MechWarrior, but he was an amazing player in all the other games. He's fantastic there. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Anyway, so thank you guys. We'll be sending you guys your codes soon. So to Poop and Shine and Calf, we'll be sending you guys both the MechBase codes. Let's get back up to the recap here. So again,
I really, really wish QQ had a spot to pick. Those stalkers were just had to plant them, just like direwolves. Even though you have a little bit more leeway with the movement, but they have their great positions on this map. There's tons of them that you can just kind of crest the ridge, do your alpha, and just go back down. And if they defended that position, I think that Seraphim would have had trouble, and we would have seen a third game.
Absolutely. What do you think of that C3 location here? I'm just going to clear the canvas here, but you can see right at the D3 position here. This is actually where there's a couple of tall towers actually. Right through this is here, and you can actually set up on either side of them and create a nice fire line poking out to Charlie 3 and Charlie 4. You know, that's one possible location they could have set up behind and while position their mechs in front of it. What do you think?
QQ or?
For QQ, exactly.
Yeah, QQ would have had limited firing lines. I think you can probably stack maybe 2 on the left and then 1 on the right. Now, they had 3 stalkers, correct?
They did. Yes, they did.
Okay. Yeah, so that would have been perfect for that. But then their Timberwolves needed some spots too. And then the Raven 2Xs probably would have poked around left rock near the Delta 2 corner, Delta 2, Delta 3, top left corner, or maybe around all the way around to Delta 4. But just got a Seraphim wanted, you can tell they really wanted to push in. They were just looking for the right movement and then pouncing.
Absolutely.
I think the scouts for QQ needed to kind of realize that, give their composition and move from there. Part of this is, a lot of it's part of your style of play, but then you got to mold the other team to your style of play. You got to make them play into your hands. That's what Seraphim did.
Absolutely. You know, I like their choices in the mix. They had the Timberwolf Seas that have a very nice symmetrical layout, but at the same time, they can throw in a jump jet there and get it around and give them some mobility. But decent alphas there. I believe overall, if I remember correctly, that's 3 medium lasers plus 2 large pulses. They're essentially doing almost a 40-point alpha, and they can essentially do 2.5 to 3 alphas before overheating. So that's pretty decent sustain versus a stalker that I believe can do 4 large lasers. So they're doing about the same 6 large lasers. So they're doing about 60 alpha there, or about 56 alpha. Very, very similar. But you're taking a mech that's 10 tons lighter, lets you spread your tonnage around the other mechs there.
Don't forget the jump jets.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing too is I like the Firestarter S. Now we often see the Firestarter A in brawling situations up close. Those eight small pulse lasers are unbeatable. I mean, you can't take a Firestarter S versus a Firestarter A in a close ball. But for sustained DPS, for long range engagements, the Firestarter S gives you a lot of mobility, a lot of flexibility.
Almost double the range of the A. And in this kind of match where you're caught in the open, you have about 300, 400 meters before you can reach any cover if you're up on top. So just having that extra range, 120-ish range, is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Firestarter S is actually my current favorite mech. I think I've done almost I think I'm up to about 900, maybe even 1,000,000 XP in that mech right now. So it's by far and away the most played mech I've played in the last 2.5 years. And I can tell you that 40 some odd alpha on there, where you get like 3 to 4 good alphas before overheating, is a lot of damage. And if you take those 4 Firestarter S's, just like Seraphim, and focus down a mech, boom, that stalker, the first mech to go down, went down very, very quickly.
They should have turned around at that point and maybe scared away the lights, but then that would have, I don't know, that would have caught them in a bad position though, because they're going to be caught up in the typical mid to Charlie 4 firefight. Well, I don't know, that would be okay for Stalker, for the composition they had if they were up there. At that point, it would just be who can click the best.
And those stalkers, I mean, they do have a little bit more armor than the Timberwolves. They're very, very tanky mech with great hitboxes. You know, maybe they could have, but it looked like there are a couple of mechs that dropped down into Charlie 3, and again, they couldn't come back up to join the rest of the team. So that last stalker, without his jump jets and mobility, really got left behind, and the other mechs that were comprising the rest of QQ's drop deck, they also lacked the ability to come back and rejoin them. You know, having a half your team with jump jets and half your team without really means that you got to be very, very aware of the mechs without jump jets and almost be like, you know, not pandering to them, but, you know, putting them in prime consideration of how the team's moving before you make any major decisions to move to another location on the map there. Now, another consideration too is that you know, QQ decided to use the Raven 2Xs. Now, the builds I've seen mostly of that have been either the 2 large laser, 2 medium laser, which has a great alpha, or the 3 large laser, which has quite a good range there. What do you think of that build?
I like the 3 large laser more than the 2 and 2, just in this map anyway. Because once you get a set position and the way QQ used that 2X, I mean, if you're going to be in sync, you should be in the similar range with your other mechs. And they weren't trying to be particularly aggressive. So if they were just sitting back and trading, the 3 large lasers on the 2X is going to be a lot more damage or a lot more utility over the long run, rather than having mechs that will just pop to the side, then give scouting reports and then pop back over. You know, until the end, it didn't really get into a brawl. And so just whittling down might have made the difference instead of having more fire starters. But, you know, like Seraphim did have, they wanted to close in right away, and that they did finally at the end.
Right. I think that was an excellent. I mean, I'd love to have actually a copy of this and just have it used for you know, showing light pilots how to maneuver and flank using lights. Because, you know, in pug queues, sometimes you get like a couple of good light pilots together, and those guys can really carry a game. It's not often that you get guys who weigh combined, you know, barely an assault mech. But, you know, if you watch how Seraphim moved around with 3 light mechs and eventually 4 light mechs, I mean, it was those guys who really started the flank, closed off, took the first couple kills, and really got the momentum going for Seraphim.
Right, taking those stalkers down is just, it's invaluable. Those stalkers are probably the key point of why QQ took them. And they lost their strong point right off the, well, I wouldn't say right off the bat, but right in the first few mechs, their 2 stalkers were down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. A great example by Seraphim, some fantastic piloting, and some great cohesion work there. I think QQ is going to want to have a rematch with them. I think they're going to feel that they probably underperformed a little bit. They probably feel they probably can give them one back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the losers bracket. So congratulations to Seraphim for some excellent matches, going 2-0 versus QQ Mercenary Group, and congratulations QQ for another great match. And we'll see you in the loser bracket. You guys get a second round, and we'll be updating the tournament board. So guys, do check out Major League Mech Warrior Online League Network and Major League Mech Warrior for all your information there. I want to say some shout-outs. We want to give a big thank you to Homeless Bill, to the other casters out there like Siri, to Magician, who helped me set up for tonight as well.